with another episode, Millennials to Millionaires. I'm the host, Alicia Ace West.
And I'm Tui Estate.
And we still have... you just want to be a part of the crew now.
I just wanted to jump right in, but I'll let you lead.
It's comfy.
We still got Sherrod McQueen, who is CEO of M5V Developments. Hey.
Sure. Well, thank you, and I'm very excited to be back.
You know, we got to keep you around. We need more knowledge. You've got a lot of expertise in this, so we're just trying to soak up as much as possible.
Sure. Soak on.
Okay, so you've clearly done so much in your life. What are some tips, some tactical tips that everybody can use to be successful?
The first tip, and I think one of the most important is just about consistency. People think it's this amazing idea, it's a great idea, but they don't execute it. They're not consistent with it. I had a gentleman that I admired, and he was running a charter school, and he said he would prefer to have a third grade idea that's executed and implemented properly rather than a university idea that no one follows through with. And I just really resonated on that. And I think that's the way I live my life. Like a lot of times, I mean, I don't know if Jeff Bezos' idea was that amazing. He was going to sell books online. I don't think he changed that. Doesn't sound like that revolutionary.
Call it what it is.
Right. It's not like he said, okay, we're going to colonialize space. He said, I'm going to sell books online.
Yeah.
And he made $1 trillion, right? It's a very simple idea, but it's not about the idea, it's about the execution. And I think that's what a lot of times stands in the way of greatness. People will not take the day-to-day steps and the simple mathematical operations to be able to be successful. So in your life, anything you want, if you're willing to do that and just day-to-day, just continue to stay on pace, I think you'll make it to where you want to go.
Yeah, consistency is definitely something that I know I struggle with. Like, I have a whole list of things that I would love to do, and then it's like, oh, okay. But execution, being able to execute and then being consistent with it will definitely put you so far ahead of the pack.
Don't you think also there's some sort of like sacrificial element to success? There's certain things that you got to be able to ignore or say no to get to where you are? Would you say so?
Right. Well, I think that's where the consistency comes in because a lot of times there's all these outside influences. Like when I was going to university, my two best friends, they weren't. They were already in the job market. And those are outside influences. Hey, Sherrod, let's go here. Hey, Sherrod, let's go to this club. Because they're both DJs, right? My best friends, we grew all the way up, but they had a different path. But those outside influences are what takes away from consistency because now you start wanting to do something else. But you have to just stay on track. You have to, like you said, sacrifice, put those other things to the side and maintain this goal. Anybody who's been great, Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, whatever business you're in, Steve Jobs, they obviously had to sacrifice. While other people were out playing or other people were out at the club or other people are out sailing their boat, they were in the lab. They were working. So I think that is one of the key fundamentals. And then another fundamental that I think, only do what you love to do. Yeah. That's it. I love real estate. I'm never actually really working. I love it. You can make money doing anything. And I think that's what's great about this generation. Generations before, like my business partner is Indian. And it was like, when you went to see his mom, it's like, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, or you're nothing. And those are the...
You have two options. Pick
you're
one.
A doctor, a lawyer, nothing. So I said, well, we're going to do real estate. And you know what? She's like, you're dead to me. Right? Because that wasn't on our list. And it's the oddest thing because my business partner, we do obviously development together. And that was like something she was a lawyer. The dad is a biochemist. The brother's a neurosurgeon. And the sister is a PhD in ethnomusicology. And we do real estate. So we were the lowest on the totem pole. Yes. But now, things have changed. They come to us for advice. Now she sees. So I like this generation, whether you're selling beauty products online, whether you're a blogger, whether you're a host, whether you can be exceptional, you can get your bag, you can make your money being excellent in whatever area you want to be in. So this is not just to say what you have to sell real estate to make money. I think real estate should definitely be a pillar of your investment once you get to, where you want to go. But at the end of the day, I like the fact that you know, you don't have to be pigeonholed. You don't have to be in one segment now to be great. And people are being respected in all walks of life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like these tips can definitely be applied across the board.
Sure.
Like, and especially with social media. So considering you have been in the game for so long before social media even developed.
Thanks.
Like, no, I'm just
Before
saying.
there was, I think I was on MySpace.
Before you had to plug in the internet and unplug the phone.
People would be like,
With
"Yo,
the dial-up."
who's on the phone? Who is on the phone?" No, when I was in high school, I was using a typewriter.
No
in high school,
way.
yes. I
And you
got
had to
my
slide
first.
it over after.
She's like,
And then we pulled down the thing, and I used whiteout when I made a mistake.
No
you
way.
were typing so carefully.
Yeah, 'cause you don't wanna-
Because you don't want to make it. You had correction fluid. So this is where I'm from. Yeah, so
No
it's before
way.
social media.
yeah, no, like social media is a decently new.
Yeah, it's a new
do you know what I mean? Like the
phenomenon,
last
yeah.
10 years, that's where it's been
Let's
going.
not
So
skim over the fact that he said he was using a typewriter.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
I remember
crazy.
my mom, like when I was a kid, I used to like find her typewriter and practice
Yeah,
typing. That's probably why I know how to type now.
IKJ. Yeah, like it's
Wow.
so this is where I came from.
One
so,
font.
But yeah,
So amazed by it.
It was Courier, and that was it.
Courier
it was,
Sans.
It was Courier. It was one font, you know. But it's the most amazing thing,
That's
and I think
amazing.
that's where, you know, we were talking about mentorship before, and we were talking about how Daniel kind of added to what I was doing by doing sales. But where I really think Daniel was invaluable is the fact that he kept me relevant, because I think you always have to look at be relevant and say, oh, okay,
Adapt to the times.
Adapt to
Yeah.
the times.
Yeah.
So many people are out there and you're like, but they're disconnected now. So I think that's one of the gifts that people give me. So yes, I'm going to give them real estate knowledge. I want to create wealth for them or whatever, but they
But that's
give me
how
a
he
wealth
can give
of
it back to
information.
you.
That's
when you
how
have
they
that
give it back.
mentor-mentee
Right, and
partnership.
there's their equilibrium, there's that balance. He adds so much because honestly, I didn't even know how to use Instagram,
Yeah.
and now he's showing me, no, this is how you do it. That's a DM that will go, or this will go live. That's it.
You might not want to do that.
Like, are you ready for that? So, but how do you think like this switch between like traditional? Because you know, back in the day, you used to print out like all the.
Oh yeah, my bill was crazy.
Yeah. So how do you feel like you've been able to transition between like traditional marketing tactics to
Right.
like using social media?
Yeah, you know what? My tactics initially were always, I only used to deal with my warm market. That was always my thing. I've never ever gone door to door. I never sent mail outs. It never worked for me. I knew real estate, fundamental real estate is people are gonna, it's a referral based business.
Yeah.
Like I already knew that. And a lot of times people hear something and they know it to be true, but then they're doing something else. And you wonder, but you know it's a referral based business. So that was always my thing. So I never did anything like that. But the social media has really put you in a different level. And I think in general, it's given people to create wealth where only established people could create wealth before. You already had to have somebody who was wealthy before. Now you see these tech guys who are coming from nowhere, who don't have a quote unquote pedigree, and they're able to, you know, make money from out of nowhere, right? And I think that's the universal equalizer. So another caveat I would give to people, or another tidbit, I would tell them, hey, listen, use the social media as a platform. Hey, it's good to hang out and socialize, but you can make money on there, and you can change the direction of your life through using social media. And these are avenues that were never available to us before.
Instagram is literally a global marketplace. Like
Everything.
when you're scrolling, all you're seeing is either you're selling something, you're offering something, you're promoting something. Depends
Yeah.
on what you're promoting, right?
Right,
Some
exactly.
girls are promoting certain things, and some people are actually promoting a mixtape or a
Whatever it
property
is.
or something, right? But it's a marketplace. It's a glorified marketplace. And if you
And
don't
even
take
when you're not
advantage of
selling
it,
something, you're selling something.
you're selling something.
your
Always.
brand. Like,
yeah.
Like you look
you
on
as a brand.
you look on your the feed, like the info post, and you can tell, like, if you really pay attention and you try to like curate it, you can tell what people's interests are,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And
absolutely. You
essentially
can see who
selling
our
that
people
like
are.
lifestyle. Like obviously there's things that you hide, right? But you're selling that specific lifestyle.
Yeah, it's literally everybody's highlights.
Yeah. How have you been able to use social media?
Me, similar to Sherrod, I deal with my warm market as well, right? I have a big church family that I deal with and a church congregation that I service heavily. But in terms of social media, I'm just trying to create that awareness of people. I'm just trying to let them know that success is possible, right? Show people that there's a different way to do this, that real estate is actually real, it's actually tangible. So I just keep driving that message home, that the 9-to-5 lifestyle is cool, but even if you are in a 9-to-5 position, real estate should be your second source of income. It should be. I think real estate investment is vital for every single individual, no matter what shape or size, what color that individual is. So that's the message that I try to show, right? And then obviously, you know, I'm a little stylish too, so I throw a little sauce in there.
You're trying to flex with the kicks and stuff.
No, it's not
I saw like 30 pair of kicks. I'm like, is that how you're spending your commission?
Yeah,
sometimes.
I hope those are appreciating. Because there's some sneakers. No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Some of those shoes are appreciating.
I was looking at the value of some shoes that I have now, because there's an app called StockX, right? It shows you what things used to be valued at, what they're valued at now. Man, exponential.
So you're
I'm
winning.
getting like 2-3x on my shoes.
Yeah, I have a pair of kicks that I got for free. Like, I'm so grateful Nike sent it to me, and I could sell them right now for $1,000. And
well,
it's
that's a
I got
win.
them for free.
1,000%.
Like, I can sell them for $1,000. You know what I
Keep
mean? So there's sometimes that's what I tell my mom. I'd be like, Mom, listen, these ones right here, I can make a couple $100 just by buying them. And if I really wanted to sell them,
are you rocking them or are these?
I wear mine.
I wear mine. Yo, you wear them. You got to keep them in the box, don't you?
I mean, not really. I'm a mix. I'm in between.
Yeah. So with the sneaker game, like if you have dead stock, if you buy them, then obviously your price you can sell them for more. If you wear them like lightly, because I have we both have so many. Like I have 80 pairs of shoes. Do you think I'm really wearing out any one pair unless I really really like them?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so, essentially, like I could still sell them if I've worn them like a handful of times. Yeah. I'm just not going to get the full dead stock price that I would.
But you're still going to get some money.
Yeah,
but you're not.
Still gonna get
you
some
guys
cash.
are just talking because you're never going to get rid of them anyway.
I'll never get rid of them.
But you never know. Like times might be rough, and then I'm like, oh, let me just sell these kicks.
I don't think you're going to part with them.
No.
So listen, I know this is a complete aside, but listen, I'm not necessarily a sneakerhead, but I love shoes. I love clothes, right? So what's your favorite pair of sneakers? What's those ones that you're like, yeah, I love these ones.
Definitely like my Jordan 1s.
Ones are taking
I just
over.
bought the core purples, so I'm really
nice.
happy with those. My favorite ones are definitely the Shatter Backboards 3.0. I'm like really into orange. So
official.
They're so expensive now.
Yeah, no. So
Shatters are expensive. I was trying to buy them like $6.
Yeah.
And what about you,
After
David?
duties?
What
I don't know. I like my ones. I like ones now. Ones are like my thing. But Dior's, I like Dior's a lot.
He got
he
got the big money.
He's one of those. He's one of those fancy guys.
I can spend a couple $100 for it.
We're talking about like vintage stuff.
Balenciaga sweater.
But he pulled up like Dior shoes. We're talking about vintage. Listen, I might be showing my age, but I'm all Air Max 95.
Okay.
Yeah, the
like,
Air Maxes
oh
are
my god,
good,
they have a
classic.
Valentine one with a heart on the tongue. Air Max 95, and they're red, white, and gray. You can't really get them. Classics. And then they had an army green pair. It's just blessed.
You never know. They might like be able to sell them for a couple $100 more.
You could get them.
Yeah.
You're just gonna pay for them.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay.
No. Yeah. That's my thing.
But that's what we're talking about, people. It doesn't matter what it is that you love. Like, say you love that sneaker game. There's people who are going on Facebook Marketplace. They're going on Instagram, and they're still making money.
That
so
reseller industry is a whole industry now.
It's a whole other
There's
thing.
a kid. His name was Ben. I think he was like 16 years old. DJ
yeah.
Khaled used to show him all the time. He was 16 years old, and he was a millionaire because he would figure out ways to like get the shoe on the release date, and then he would flip them. And he was a
Just
kid
like that.
making hella money.
Monopolized the
But that was
It's
something that
something
wasn't
that you can do.
available to us before. Because I used to wait in
Shout out
line.
to the internet.
When Jordan 13 came out, I waited in line. I got 3 or 4 pair, and I put an ad in the newspaper.
Oh wow!
and I flipped a
Now
couple
we use
pair.
social
But
media.
that was a little bit
what is a
scary.
newspaper
It's like,
again?
I know. It's like, you gotta think. But that's the whole thing. So those are some of the fundamentals. Obviously, it's like we talked about. It's consistency. It's doing something you love, but it's using social media to your advantage, knowing that this point in history will never be repeated. People can go from 0 to 100 real quick right now.
Shout
Where
out to
before, shout out. We're in the 6, just so you know. And before, people would take generations to get there, and now you could do it in 1 generation. You could do it in 5. You can do it in 10 years. So I think people really have to recognize that. And a lot of times, people always look back. They're like, "Oh, if I was back there, I would have done X."
Yeah.
But I want everyone to recognize the moment that they're in now and realize that this moment is going to be a moment that people look back on and realize this is the time that people could make a quantum leap. They didn't have to go A, B, C, D. They went A right to Z. So, all those people are on social media, really utilize it. You guys are ahead of the class. The people who are, in that older cohort, they're not using it. They don't know how to really, they're coming to you as influencers, as all these things. You guys are the ones in this age group who really have the power right now.
Yeah. What do you think that there's influencers in the social media space? Do you think that they have the ability to take what they've learned in the digital space and then flip it to make it a successful real estate career?
Sure, I think people can do that in a couple different ways. Obviously, they can buy property on their own. A lot of people that I've seen have transitioned directly into a real estate business because now everybody knows them, and a lot of times they're not making what they could make online just through influence and whatever. Now it's about, but they have a brand, so now people are they're gonna come to them. So there's a lot of different ways that people are able to really transition from online to bricks and mortar and vice versa. It becomes very interchangeable. But I want people to be able to recognize the power that they have in their brand. There's people who have 100, 200K followers, but they're not monetizing it. And that's the key. Whatever you want to do, you have to be able to monetize it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. You can make money in this world, but you have to see all the angles. So, and that's something, that these guys will touch on, is just how to monetize it and how to make money in a lot of different mediums.
Yeah.
But the online, I think, it's just such a great frontier, and it's just so new. It's like the gold rush, and you guys are all on the tip of it. Me a little bit less so, since I was using the typewriter, but you guys are in good shape. And that's what we have to really focus on.
Do you have any specific qualities that someone can essentially possess that would make them really good in this industry?
Well, I think that's one of the things is about these people who are online and these influencers. I think it's good because the biggest quality is being personable, being likable. That's the biggest thing. People do business with people that they like.
Yeah,
that's it.
Sure.
People are coming there doing business with me. It's not like I pull out a resume and I sold these many properties and here's what I sold and here was my person. No. Yeah. I come and I sit down. They're like, oh, I like Sherrod. I'm going to do a deal with them. They have no clue what my business acumen is. Right? That's it. So those people, they found a way to curate that. People like them. So you could sell anything. And real estate happens to be one of the highest value items, but they're already very well positioned. So that's kind of my thing, is to empower that younger generation and let them know what they have. When I first sat down with my business partner, he was asking me, what makes you successful? What kind of traits do you have, Sherrod, that allowed you? And I was stumped. He was interviewing me, and he's like, but Sherrod, everybody likes you. I'm like, okay. And it really got me thinking. So a lot of times young people are saying, oh, well, you know what? If I was 40, or if I had this, or forget about if you have. It's what you have, and make that work for you.
What advice do you have for your younger self?
My younger self, I would have just said, you know what? Stay the course, and maybe, party a little bit less, have a little less fun. You know what? Have a little less fun. Let's be true. I had a lot of fun, but I think I would be further ahead now if I would have just been a little bit more focused. And maybe for some of my contemporaries, I was focused. But then you hear Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg. You hear these guys, and you're like, these guys through their 20s, they were on, right? And now they're relaxing. And I do think it is, maybe get some balance. Yeah. But don't go all the way one way or another way. But yeah, I think I could have just said, you know what, let me just put a little bit more work in here.
When you were young, did you see this, or are you on schedule in terms of your life, would you say? Or
you know what? I always knew I wanted to be successful. I didn't know exactly how that would look. So if we're talking about one of the things, it's like, actually, people will always tell you no one does it, but create a 5 and create a 10-year plan. I never did it. I never had a blueprint. So when you're saying my younger self, I would literally create a blueprint for success. Now I do. I'm saying this is where I want to be in 10 years. And this is how I'm going to get there. It's like saying, hey, I want to get to David's house.
Always have a plan and then work backwards from it.
You're just gonna just drive down the street aimlessly until I wind up in Toronto. How am I gonna get there?
You need a route.
You need a route. People have no route. They're like, oh yeah, I want to do social media and I want to be successful. But what does that look like? Who can you point to who's successful in your lane? And how did they get there, right? These are the steps that you need to take. Whatever it is, create a blueprint, create a roadmap, and then you always self-assess. You go 3-4 months and you're like, okay, this is what I did right, and this is what I didn't do right. So that's another thing I would definitely tell myself, my younger self, is create a blueprint. And you know what? Stay focused.
Yes.
You can have fun throughout. Like, I'm still having fun. I'm 43. So the fun is not going to elude you, but you know what?
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun with money in your pocket. So
True.
stay filled.
It's different levels of fun.
Yeah. Totally different levels of fun. Fun is knowing that you can go away and you can come back and you're not worried while you're away.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so every episode we end with a book. Do you got one for us?
I do. And it's sitting on here. It's Principles by Ray Diallo. He's a hedge fund manager worth $18.7 billion. He's self-made. 70-year-old now. He's a philanthropist. But his whole book, it's called Principles, and that's what it's about. It's about creating standards, creating ways for yourself to be successful. And his whole premise is you're normally going to come up on the same obstacles in life. They may look a little bit different, but when you look underneath them, it's the same thing. So figure out a way to deal with those obstacles, whether it's negotiating a meeting, negotiating a deal, working with other people. Figure out how you're going to deal with it. So when that problem arises, you already go back and you're like, hey, this worked for me last time and it was successful, and this is how I'm going to deal with it again. You have those core fundamental principles. It makes everything easier. That's how we got to where he's at. And I just thought it was a very inspirational book. And I'll actually take a quote from there.
Yes.
Because I know that's how you normally end it off. I'm going to jump into a quote. And this is the funny thing. This is a quote from a quote, because he's quoting someone else in the book. He's actually speaking about stocks, which is odd because he's a stock guy. But this is why I do real estate and maybe not something that's like stocks. And I always speak about it. The brilliant trader and investor Bernard Baruch put it well when he said, if you are ready to give up everything else and study the whole history and background of the market and all the principal companies whose stocks are on the board as carefully as medical students study anatomy. If you can do all that, in addition to have the cool nerves of a gambler, the sixth sense of a clairvoyant, and the courage of a lion, you have a ghost of a chance.
So don't invest in stocks.
Yeah. I was like, so it's not for me. That's what it is.
So these are people who made money in that line of work, who do it, and they're letting you know it's not an easy path to walk. So when you're looking for other avenues, maybe look into real estate. I think it's tangible and it's something that will keep you safe.
More than a ghost of a chance.
More than a ghost.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Sherrod.
Thank you very much.
Make sure you follow the Instagram M5V_developments.
That's right. That's what it is.
And this is another episode of Millennials to Millionaires. I'm Alicia Ace West.
I'm Twee Estate.
Yes.
Sherrod McQueen, CEO of M5V Developments.
Thank you.